So, the Environmental Protection Agency is probably one of the most important governmental agencies because this agency is supposed to protect the environment from industries like the oil and gas industry when they want to pollute and destroy the planet. Now, we have Scott Pruitt, who is now the EPA chief, and he is a climate change denier, and it was recently revealed that he's actually in bed with the industry that he's supposed to be regulating. So the Huffington Post explains, during his time as Oklahoma Attorney General, Scott Pruitt, the newly sworn-in Environmental Protection Agency chief, forged an alliance with industry players to fortify oil, gas, and utility companies' legal challenges against Obama-era regulations that they said amounted to a war on carbon, according to more than 7,500 pages of emails published Wednesday. The emails reveal a chummy relationship between Pruitt and the companies whose pollution he's now tasked with reining in. The document dump sheds new light on Pruitt's frequent strategizing with Devon Energy Corporation, the Oklahoma City-based oil and gas giant. Pruitt's ties to the company, uncovered in a similar email dump published in 2014 by the New York Times, became a flashpoint during his confirmation process. In particular, critics railed against Pruitt's 2011 decision to allow the company to write a 3-page complaint to the EPA under his letterhead. In 2013, Pruitt's office solicited feedback from the company before suing the Federal Bureau of Land Management over proposed rules to curb emissions from methane, a potent natural gas. In a victory for Pruitt, other state attorneys general, and the oil and gas lobby, a judge struck down the regulation last June. The emails also show Pruitt was in contact not just with individual companies, but with fossil fuel industry groups as well. Pruitt met with lobbying group American Fuel and Petroleum Manufacturers to discuss ozone limits and the renewable fuel regulations in 2013 in Washington, D.C. Pruitt made his name suing the EPA 13 times, repeatedly joining oil, gas, and coal players, including Oklahoma Gas and Electric and the Domestic Energy Producers Alliance, an industry-backed group, in filing lawsuits to stop federal regulations. Pruitt championed the rights of ExxonMobil Corp. in investigations into whether the oil giant committed fraud by covering up evidence that burning fossil fuels changes the climate. During his confirmation hearing, he claimed he was unsure how much lead was unsafe for human consumption. Between 2002 and 2016, he received more than $300,000 in donations from the fossil fuel industry, and even more money went to a political action committee and a super PAC that paid for the former Oklahoma Attorney General's trips to Hawaii and New Orleans. The newly released emails reveal a close and friendly relationship between Scott Pruitt's office and the fossil fuel industry, with frequent meetings, calls, dinners, and other events, said Nick Sergey, research director at the Center for Media and Democracy, the watchdog group that sued to release the emails. So when progressives talk about the system being rigged, this is what we mean right here. You have someone who is bankrolled by the oil and gas industry, who's friends with people from the oil and gas industry, who has dinners with them. He's now controlling the governmental agency that's supposed to rein in the oil and gas industry. This is a rigged game. And I think that when you talk about how close he is, I mean, the relationship basically between Scott Pruitt and the oil and gas industry, it's indistinguishable. Their positions are exactly parallel. He agrees with everything that they do and thinks that they should be able to pollute the environment and there should be no checks on their power. This is unbelievable. I think that we need to launch an investigation into Scott Pruitt because this is corruption. You know, he might be doing things legally. He might be taking these bribes legally through super PACs, but best believe this is a form of legalized bribery and this is corruption. I do not approve of anyone, Republican or Democrat, who is in bed with the corporations and the industries that they're supposed to be regulating. It's not right. And I think that overall, this is really a bombshell of a finding because these are companies, the oil and gas industry, they want to destroy the planet. They want to lobby the government to not only allow them to pollute, but they want them to not push for renewable energy sources because that would cut into their profits. They're destroying the planet because of their profits. We're not seeing any of this profit. I'm not getting any money because our planet that we all share is being destroyed for all of us, yet only this industry is benefiting from it. I don't know what to say about this. This is something that I think is one of the most grotesque things about Republicans and Democrats. They're all in bed with the industries that fuck us over. I mean, look at how Democrats like Barney Frank, he was tasked with regulating the financial services industry, and he was taking money from them. And now we have an EPA chief who is taking money from the oil and gas industry. He received $300,000 and allowed him to basically run his office when he was Attorney General in Oklahoma. It's maddening, and I think that everyone should be in Scott Pruitt's office every single day protesting this idiot, because what he's doing is dangerous. If you're choosing to allow these corporations to continue to pollute and destroy the planet, you're playing a dangerous game. You're choosing profit over the habitability of our planet. Scott Pruitt is legitimately a bad person. I try to refrain from making moral judgments, but I think that this is something that we can all just objectively state. He's a bad person. A terrible person, and Donald Trump is a terrible person for nominating him, and anyone who voted for this idiot is also a terrible person, and they're culpable in destroying the planet.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.